The city of Pittsburgh and its citizens are still aglow after the Steelers win in yesterday's AFC Championship game. Tonight, the focus shifts to the Petersen Center, where plenty of the locals are fired up about the University of Pittsburgh Panthers. The students, who comprise the Oakland Zoo, raced into their section to get the best seats more than 2 hours ago. They're ready for tonight's matchup of two of the top 8 teams in the country. Welcome, everyone, to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, a part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week on ESPN. We're on the fired-up campus of the University of Pittsburgh as they play host to number 8, Syracuse. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us. The sellout crowd is ready. Syracuse, Jay, we talk a lot about the strength of the Big East Conference. Syracuse wasn't mentioned prominently when the year began. They weren't even ranked in the polls. They're off to a great start.
They are in so many different ways to score, so many different guys that can get you 20 points. I think against a defense that's as good as Pittsburgh's, 2 guys have to play great. I think Johnny Flynn at the point has to make great decisions and control the game, and I think Syracuse has got to establish Arinze Onuaku inside, especially early against the big guys of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was expected to be outstanding, and they have been 16-1, but their first loss was their last game Saturday at Louisville. They've fallen from number 1 to number 4. Bounce back the key tonight.
While some people were at the Steelers-Ravens game, I was finding out, did they bounce back? They had a good workout yesterday, spirited today. I think the big thing is, how do you handle the zone when it does appear? Although Jim Boeheim is playing a lot more man-to-man. Psychologically, it's important they do bounce back.
And as we look at Star Watch tonight, 2 sturdy big men down low.
Well, the size and strength of Arinze Onuaku shoots 70% from the field. And Saturday against Notre Dame, he was terrific. 19 points, went 9 of 12 from the field, and grabbed 8 rebounds against Godey.
DeJuan Blair with Jay Billis type of numbers simply because he was in foul problems. He's got to stay on the floor for them to win.
And as part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week, we recruited a student from each school to introduce the starting lineups.
Hi, I'm Steve Andress, senior broadcast journalism major at Syracuse University. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for the 8th-ranked Orange, starting with the guards. And Johnny Flynn runs the point. 8 assists or more in the last 4 games. His running mate, Andy Routens, will shoot it from the parking lot if you leave him open. Down low for the forwards, Paul Harris, SU's leading rebounder. Rick Jackson coming off his second double-double of his career against Notre Dame. And Arinze Onuaku, number 1 in the country in field goal percentage.
Hey everybody, what's up? My name's Dave. I'm the president of the Oakland Zoo, and I'm here today to introduce the starting 5 for the Pitt Panthers. At point guard, we have LaVance Fields, the most underrated point guard in the country. Working with him tonight will be Jermaine Dixon, straight from Baltimore. Next up, the 3, we have Sam Young, America's most talented player. He's a great poet, and he's really good on the piano. Next at the 4 from Don Bosco Prep is Tyrell Biggs. And lastly, we have America's best center, DeJuan Blair. He's 19, he's a man.
We thank Steve and Dave for the great job with the lineups. We'll hear from each of them later on. Dave's not afraid to make a few editorial comments about his team. The Pitt Panthers dressed in the home white. Carl Hess will throw the ball in the air. He's working with Tim Higgins and John Higgins. And this one is underway.
And right now, Sean McDonough and Jay Billis. The Panthers are good.
And Syracuse immediately goes inside to Arinze Onuaku. And his shot come in close, was rebounded by Tyrell Biggs.
Pittsburgh immediately going to a post-to-post double team when Onuaku gets the ball inside.
And they're going to have to cover the weak side well, too, Jay, when they do that. Good rotation.
LaVance Fields, 4 assists for every turnover, guarded by Johnny Flynn. They're the top 2 assist men in the Big East. Fields averages 7 assists per game, using a DeJuan Blair high screen. Now Tyrell Biggs, it was deflected on a run out by Paul Harris. And now a question about whether that goal by Blair beat the shot clock.
They're going to check it. And a pretty good defensive sequence there with the hand up.
A terrific job by Paul Harris to get pressure on this shot. Couldn't tell.
Yeah.
See the clock up top. I don't think he got that off.
Take another look.
It had gone to 0 and it was still in his hands.
Well, typical of Big East, we begin with a situation, and we'll probably end with one. Here it is right here again and up here.
And no surprise, the best offensive rebounder in the country comes away with it, but it is still clearly at 0 with the ball in his hands.
And now Tim Higgins signals no goal, and Syracuse will play it in. Juwan Blair, as Bill mentioned, fouled out Saturday at Louisville. That was a big key to the game. Pittsburgh was plus 12 with him on the court, but they wound up losing by 6 because Blair spent half the game on the bench.
Great cover.
Johnny Flynn, a very deep 3, ripped down by Blair, who saved it along the end line. Fields, senior from Brooklyn, off to Jermaine Dixon. On the floor and out of bounds. Last touch by Blair. It'll go back over to Syracuse in a pitcher's duel here in the first minute and a half. Syracuse coached by Jim Boeheim in his 33rd season as head coach at his alma mater. Coming up on 800 wins. Winning record all time against Pitt, but Pittsburgh has won the last 2. They've won 5 of the last 6 and 10 out of 13 against the Orange. Held ball. It'll go back over to Pittsburgh in a sloppy start offensively on both sides. Jamie Dixon, 148 wins in his 6th season as head coach at Pitt. Already 3rd all time in victories at the University of Pittsburgh.
And Sean, that last trip for Pittsburgh, Blair got an offensive rebound, so he gets over 6 a game, 6.2. You got to keep him off the glass.
And that leads the nation by far. I mean, most really good offensive rebounders get 3. The great ones get 4. He is off the charts as an offensive rebounder in college.
Blair stepping away from the bucket, took a weird harem off the glass to Jermaine Dixon, the junior in his first year at Pitt as a JC transfer. Is coming off a career-high 19 in the loss at Louisville.
That's a foul.
Yes, it is. Sam Young was on the hip for a while and got called for the bump. He also had foul trouble against Louisville. Went to the bench in the first half with 2 quick ones.
Well, you got to give a little cushion when you play Flynn, particularly when you're that size. You got to back off.
Syracuse is going to have to do a good job on their defensive glass. This Pittsburgh team rebounds on the offensive end 42% of their misses. That's amazing.
It is incredible. Nice run out here. Tough luck.
And Dixon's pass a bit too far ahead of Tyrell Biggs. He managed to flip it off a Syracuse player. So still just 2-0 in favor of the Panthers. Nearly 2.5 minutes gone by here at the sold-out Petersen Events Center in its 7th year as the home of Pitt basketball, one of the great venues in the country. Blair scores inside. Very easy completion on the inbounding play.
Jay, he's got some physique to carve out area. I mean, he's offensive rebounding, getting positioned like that on the out of bounds.
Well, he moves into an area with such strength. He doesn't make soft cuts. He makes hard cuts.
Paul Harris called for a travel as he tried to drive from the wing. 5 possessions for Syracuse. They're 0 for 3 from the floor, and they've turned it over twice.
Pittsburgh is a methodical offensive team. They run a lot of really good sets at staggered screens. Good read by Routens.
I'll say, stepping through the double. He has improved his game, Sean. Well rounded now. Middle game, drive game, and we know he can stick to 3.
In some ways, the knee injury suffered the summer before last might have been a blessing. It forced him to sit out all of last season, and Routens took advantage of that time to get stronger, added about 20 pounds of muscle, and worked on his game as well.
Well, even though Syracuse plays a lot of man-to-man, it is still odd to see them playing it, isn't it?
No, it is. Well, you know, he works at it. He said that tonight again. A little double here, Jay.
Just shooting the gap. And instead of locking and trailing, going behind, he just went up the pipe and shot the gap and stepped out in front of that pass. That was really well read by Andy Routens.
Paul Harris the foul, Sam Young the free throw shooter. You can see the difference in Andy Routens' body, much more definition than what we saw when he played 2 seasons ago. 1 out of 2 for Young. Out of bounds. Tim Higgins looked like he was going to point one way, and upon further review, it'll stay with Pitt.
Once again, the ability on the glass. They got big bodies, Biggs being another. And pleading innocence.
Yeah, that was a good call. Went off on Oahu.
Vance Fields batted around, and it comes off to Flynn. Numbers for Syracuse: 4 on 2. Routen's a 3.
In the early, he is so dangerous because they push, shove, collapse the D, and a kickback.
That's one area where Syracuse has really improved from last year to this year. Their ability to push the ball up court and get an easy opportunity.
Nice entry here.
And a 3-second violation called against DeJuan Blair. So we're tied at 5. Andy Routen's with all 5 points for Syracuse. Syracuse off a win at home on Saturday over Notre Dame, won by 19, scored 93 points. That was after a loss at Georgetown earlier in the week when they played very poorly in the first half. Routen's had it stripped by Dixon off the field.
Nice passing. Way to handle that 2-on-1, but you turn it over that far out on the floor, you usually give a deuce.
Well, Dixon 2 steals per game. There's the double team off the high screen.
Oh, what a look here. Woo. Send it in, 0-0.
Rick Jackson off a beautiful feed from Johnny Flynn, the sophomore point guard from Niagara Falls, New York, one of the best point guards in the country. We have 2 of them going head to head. Back right now, Fields being guarded by Flynn.
Yeah, pretty good job on Oahu. Now he gets outside position now.
Tyrell Biggs drains a 3. Jim Boeheim said before the game, Pittsburgh is a better shooting team than they've been in recent years, and Biggs is a reason why.
When Blair did such a nice job, instead of trying to get post position, he just set up knowing that Biggs would take that shot. Got inside position as an offensive rebounder. Here's the post-to-post double.
Now, this is where you got to make good decisions.
Flynn bypassed a 3 to get closer and make it a 1-point game. Typical start here for Pitt. We think of Pittsburgh, we think about team basketball. All 5 starters have scored already for the Panthers.
And their synchronized defense is a 5-man involvement as well, Sean.
Here comes a 2-3 zone by Syracuse now. Got to get it into the middle where it says Big East in the lane.
Dixon the floater, rare possession where Pittsburgh didn't have an offensive rebounder underneath. And then a foul on Dixon as it went the other way. First media timeout. Pittsburgh leading 10-9. Coming up, the University of Pittsburgh's Cathedral of Learning will be the subject of tonight's Extra Credit.
That's good. Drinkability, my friend. Drinkability means Bud Light won't fill you up. So you got plenty of room for your favorite festival cuisine, you know, like funnel cakes, turkey legs, my personal favorite, baba ganoush.
What's baba ganoush?
No idea, but it sounds cool. Dude, draw your own food.
Never filling, always refreshing. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
This weighs a ton.
Hey, buddy, you left your little man step down.
Would you rather have a Ford F-150 with a man step or a Silverado that backs you for 100,000 miles or 5 years? Unbeatable coverage, unbeatable value. Chevy Silverado, America's best truck.
While looking for his remote, Alex makes an unfortunate discovery.
Oh, no.
If Alex had Netflix, he'd never have to pay late fees. Take the drama out of renting.
Netflix. Unlimited movies for $8.99 a month. Mavericks Celtics and Spurs Lakers. Sunday on ABC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And in part by Chevy, an American Revolution.
We'll look at some of the delicious sandwiches at Primanti Brothers, a local institution. Time now for some extra credit for Pittsburgh senior Lauren Cavalier, who helps us gain some knowledge about one of the University of Pittsburgh's most famous landmarks.
Here on Pitt's campus is the Cathedral of Learning. It is a 42-story building that was built from the top down during the Great Depression. It is the largest educational building in the Western Hemisphere. The most unique part is that it features nationality rooms, which are classrooms from countries around the world. The cathedral is a representation of Pitt pride. When driving back to school, I can see the cathedral from a few miles away. Just the image of the cathedral sparks feelings of Pitt pride and excitement. Hail to Pitt.
I think I would have liked, that was very well done by Lauren, but I would have liked some information. How do they build it from the top down? I mean, they built the 42nd story before first and then went down from there?
Have faith.
By the way, that's the earliest you've ever seen it from any sandwich.
Couple of substitutes into the game for Syracuse. Rick Jackson trying to throw an alley-oop pass, almost threw it into the bucket. And here come the Panthers the other way. Eric Devendorf is in for Syracuse, along with Chris Joseph. And Pittsburgh has substituted as well. This is Gilbert Brown, their leading scorer off the bench at 6 points per game. Brad Wanamaker is also in, number 22.
Jay mentioned that area in the middle. That's the spot on the corner and in the middle.
Gilbert Brown, the offensive rebound. Sam Young, his shot's been off lately, 6 for his last 25 from the floor, but Blair is there, as he so often is.
He really is tough. And the way he pumps, so intelligent.
Yeah, he goes to the glass every time, and he's got amazing hands. If it is in his area, he is going to come away with it.
This is where he's got to be careful. His post defense, he'll once in a while stick that arm around.
Rick Jackson a miss.
And one of the things about Blair, Bill, is he's got great feet and great hands. He's one of the best steals guys in college basketball, but he just goes after the ball, and he rebounds out of his area. Look, and he does it in a crowd. He's got 3 orange shirts around him. He comes away with the ball.
He's comfortable in traffic, too. He's not in a hurry, sees it slowly, and then completes.
Averaging way over a double-double per game. Rick Jackson has taken a seat for Syracuse. Paul Harris called for the foul for the Orange.
They kick a guy off on the wing. At times you can take advantage of it.
Good pass. That shot.
Brown shot deflected by Paul Harris. Syracuse down by 3. Johnny Flynn the miss. But right there, Arinze Onawaku, the junior from Lanham, Maryland.
And you just saw there, Flynn earlier had dribble into the lane, kicked back for Routens. This time takes it to the rim, opens up an offensive rebound by collapsing the D.
But it is amazing, after bad shots, how often those lead to easy runouts for the other team. A bad shot is the first pass in your opponent's fast break.
Devendorf called for the foul as Wanamaker tried to drive. That's the first foul on Eric Devendorf. Tomorrow night on ESPN Super Tuesdays continue with a doubleheader at 7 Eastern. The Big Ten battle, Ohio State against 24th ranked Illinois, and then at 9 an SEC showdown, Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Super Tuesday presented by KFC. It is also part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week on ESPN. Wide open baseline jumper wouldn't fall for Tyrell Biggs, the senior from Nanuet, New York, having his best season of his career in his final year for Pitt. Devendorf, one of the best three-point shooters in Syracuse history, with an air ball.
Boy, Pitt's really been doing a good job overloading and finding spots behind the zone.
Well, they don't over-dribble, and they try to pass the ball into the teeth of this defense rather than over penetrating or penetrating into it. They might take one hard dribble, but then it's going to be a jump stop and a pass. There it is.
Everybody matches. Nice cut, set that up. How pretty is that? Hillard.
Just getting the ball into the middle of that zone really attracts the defense to you, and then you can turn and make a play as long as you don't panic, and Biggs did not panic.
First bucket for Gilbert Brown. Flynn trying to answer, and Tyrell Biggs the rebound. Pitt running up by 3. Levance fields the acrobatic layup.
You know, he doesn't look like he explodes by anybody. Doesn't look like he elevates. He just gets it done. Tough little guy with the kiss at the end.
Well, when we come back, Jay and Bill's dream will come true. I'll hand the play-by-play duties off to a guest announcer.
It's gonna be a late one, people.
What a bummer, dude. Now you want people to watch me on DirecTV tonight.
Relax, Red. Look, I can easily set my home DVR to record you right from here. Done.
Wow.
You know, you're a little scary up close.
With DirecTV, you can easily set your home DVR from any cell phone or computer. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery back at the Petersen Events Center, the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. Andy Routens for the Orange, a long miss, and the rebound down to Sam Young, the senior out of Clinton, Maryland.
Where they get the shot they want, though. Nice little staggered double. And Routens gets a good, clean look.
Ashton Gibbs into the ball game now for Pitt, wearing number 12. He gave it to Tyrell Biggs. And on Owaku, the rebound. He averages 8 per game to go with 13 points. That's 4 rebounds for Rinze already. Flynn trying to drive by Wanamaker. Now Devendorf picked up by Wanamaker.
What are you saying? I'm sorry, Jay.
Well, it's just great defense by Wanamaker to stay in front of Johnny Flynn.
Traveling the call against Devendorf. Then we'll get the full media timeout. There's Steve Andrus, Syracuse senior, getting ready to take over the microphone as I get ready to go get a hot dog.
We get a break, Jay.
Thank God.
This is OnStar. I've received a signal you've been in a crash.
After a long discussion with my friends and my family, I've decided to sign with the Cleveland Browns, baby.
LeBron James is done in the sports world.
LeBron electrifies football. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
LeBron, you're gonna miss the bus.
LeBron, wake up. Everybody's on the bus. When I'm there for the best day of the week, State Farm's there. Let's go.
At T. Rowe Price, successful investing is about balancing risk and reward intelligently. It's the same way we've managed investments for over 70 years. Finding the right opportunity. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a complete prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing.
Back at the Petersen Events Center, Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Pittsburgh leading Syracuse 16-11. It is ESPNU Campus Connection Week. And Syracuse University with a great, as you guys know, tradition of producing sports broadcasters. And here's Steve Andrus, senior from Philadelphia, broadcast journalism major, ready to take over the play-by-play. He wanted to learn just how hard it can be when you have to work with prima donnas tonight. So here it is with Jay and Bill.
Well, what do you say we have some fun, boys? A little bit low scoring from what Syracuse has been used to, 90+ against Notre Dame, but probably the best defense in the country they've faced all year tonight in the Panthers.
I'm waiting for you. It's nice to work with a man from Syracuse that has style and grace.
A real pro.
And he'll let it breathe.
Out of the timeout, Pittsburgh with possession. Syracuse back in the man-to-man, had glimpses of the zone so far in the first half, but very rare to see SU play man-to-man traditionally, and played mostly man in a double dribble.
Just a little bit out of sorts in their offense there against that switch. You know, you come out of a timeout thinking one thing, little change, you get herky-jerky, Jay.
I'm not sure that the zone was all that effective for Syracuse. Pittsburgh able to get the ball into the middle of that zone and break it down a little bit too easily. Man-to-man, they don't have to cover as much ground on closeouts.
Offensive foul on Onuaku. Going to get called for the elbow. His first foul. Team's fourth. Onuaku coming off a very good game against the reigning Big East Player of the Year, Luke Harangody, 19 points, 8 rebounds, and on the year, 70% from the field, #1 in the country, ahead of Patrick Patterson at Kentucky.
A little manufactured post-up and a fadeaway by Young. I like him inside more than that, settling for 3.
Well, Paul Harris just late in getting there. Young was already in his move when he was getting a hand up.
Nice cut to set that up.
Foul underneath. They're going to get Brown.
Young just coming off that double stagger, coming down into the low post. Instead of stopping on the block, goes all the way out to the short corner. And he is such a good jump shooter. He's not one of those guys that's going to catch the ball on the block and make a power move and go right into you. And the most exaggerated and best shot fake in college basketball.
Back into the game for Young, and Dievendorf trying to quickly turn the ball over. Gibbs quickly back the other way. Ashton Gibbs' 19th birthday today.
It's just a load down in there. You let him set up shop, he'll dominate.
I'm not sure there's anybody that can keep him out of the lane if you don't catch him up top. You've got to meet him at the free throw line and deny him that position.
Yeah, you really have to do your homework early.
Johnny Flynn drives, Routen's another 3, this time no good.
They're getting the shots they want. It's a matter of converting.
Wanamaker stops his dribble, back inside for Blair. And an offensive foul. Onuaku establishes position, boys. Good job that time. Maybe the first battle Onuaku has won against Blair tonight.
Did you see the end of this when he threw the ball at him? Watch the end of this thing. Right there.
Little acting job there, but very smart. Very alert play by Arinze Onuaku. But I'm not sure if he was run over by a semi, he would go down that quickly. He's too strong to go down that fast.
Over 260 pounds is Arinze.
I think he and Cunningham have improved their game so much in this league.
No question. You're talking Dante Cunningham from Villanova.
Johnny Flynn on the bench. Eric Dievendorf will take over the point guard duties. Jackson, another double team. Wanamaker tips it away out of bounds.
Well, Syracuse hasn't done the best of jobs in handling that post-to-post double team. You know, they can beat that rotation, but they've got to be strong with the ball. And you're not going to be able to just throw it out on the same side, on the strong side. You've got to turn and look opposite, and there'll be somebody open.
Fields back into the game. 5 assists away coming into this game to become the 6th player in Pitt history with 1,000 points and 500 assists. Scored his 1,000th point against Georgetown earlier this year.
And they're all chasing Brandon Knight with the assists in this terrific program.
Good switch by Pitt on that big-on-big ball screen at the elbow.
Brown's got a tough assignment down on the block. Arinze's setting up now smart.
Shot clock violation. Blair was on Harris up towards the top of the key and came back down on the double. And Jay, you've said it multiple times already, just doubling whoever has it in the low post, whether it's Jackson or Onuaku.
Well, they've doubled the 2 big guys. They're not doubling Harris when he gets the ball, but they did a good job of sitting on the right hand of Paul Harris. He's a right-hand driver. They're trying to make him go left.
Blair again, can't get it this time. Jackson with the rebound. Syracuse down by 9. Andy Routen's with the ball, started the last 8 games after the 2-game suspension for Eric Dievendorf. Back outside for Harris, a 3, got it.
And that's not his strength either. Struggles from deep, but terrific penetration. And you step into that 3, it's a lot easier.
Well, it was made possible because Syracuse, when they got the ball into the post, turned and looked opposite. That meant that Pittsburgh had to cover a lot of ground. They were able to attack the closeout and get a wide open shot.
Just the 4th 3 of the year for Harris. Wanamaker this time, yes sir.
Nice kick out by the heady point guard, Fields.
Wanamaker out of Roman Catholic in Philadelphia, played against Rick Jackson in his days at Newman Goretti. Harris underneath, double teamed again, out of bounds. Pitt ball.
And the
Well, guys, it was fun joining you. I guess I have to turn it back over
You
to
don't
the
have to
master.
leave.
Don't go.
Stay.
Don't go.
Nice to be with a gentleman with style.
With the lead.
Hey, buddy, you left your little man step down.
Would you rather have a Ford F-150 with a man step or a Silverado that backs you for 100,000 miles or 5 years? Chevy Silverado, America's best truck.
Now choose between 3.9% APR on any Silverado extended cab, or current GM owners can buy this one for around $25,500 after all offers.
Winter X Games 13 kicks off live from Aspen. Opening night begins with a mix of tricks and terrain, as defending snowmobile speed and style champ Levi LaValle headlines a showdown in the snow. Plus, Simon DeMont attempts to derail Tanner Hall's quest for a 4th straight gold in ski superpipe. And who will soar to new heights in snowboard big air? Huge! Winter X Games 13 starts Thursday at 9 on ESPN.
Hey, Jill. Are you coming to book club tonight?
Are you screening your calls? Where are you guys?
Get more out of life with the Optimum Rewards Card. Enjoy free Movie Tuesdays at Clearview Cinemas, access to pre-sale tickets, shopping discounts.
Mom! Dad?
Even the chance to win once-in-a-lifetime experiences. If you've got all 3 Optimum services, go to OptimumRewards.com and sign up for your free rewards card now.
Hey, Keisha just hit 39. Let's buy 500,000 shares.
Give me a second.
Got it at 39.
I'm still waiting for confirmation.
What you see here is the difference your network makes.
I've never seen our network this busy.
Well, it's okay. We've got plenty of bandwidth.
I better alert our other offices.
The network on the right is Optimum LightPath.
How are we going to explain these operating costs to the board?
It's the network.
It's the network.
It's absolutely out of control.
It's saving us a fortune.
Optimum serves businesses of every size. Larger companies rely on Optimum LightPath.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. Sports Center right now. The Jets have their new coach, Rex Ryan, the Baltimore defensive coordinator, at least erstwhile Ravens DC, has agreed to a 4-year deal to become the Jets head coach. Wake Forest is the new #1 team in the land, coming from number 24, the lowest ranked team ever to ascend to #1 in the history of the ESPN USA Today poll. Sports Center after Big Monday. Stay current with ESPN News.
All right, Reese, thank you. And thank you to Steve Andrus, the senior Syracuse student out of Philadelphia, broadcast journalism major, assistant sports director on the campus radio station WAER. Rinzi Onawaku scores. Thought Steve did an excellent job despite the handicaps he was presented.
Do you remember being that age? Would you have been able to do that?
I know you don't.
No, I'm very impressed by the poise. Of course, he's lost his amateur eligibility because Steve did a basketball game on ESPNU the whole game earlier this year at West Virginia, worked with Jay Williams, a real pro. And he was also involved in the UConn-Syracuse broadcast on ESPNU during the football season, working alongside Clay Matvick and others.
There's so many luminaries from your great university, you being the exception, of course, in that profession.
Thought it was rather unseemly that you unplugged his headset midway through his performance.
Well, that was very impressive. I could unplug his headset and he still maintained his poise. He said, I had a little trouble hearing Jay and Bill. I said, that's exactly the point. Turn down that audio every week. Dewan Blair, the fadeaway. He has 8.
King of the smiles, too. Just step back a little bit, that 5-footer. That's a tough shot. So theatrics.
And Routens rattles home a 3. Andy Routens has 8.
When they get the ball inside and are able to kick it back out and make that extra pass, that is too much ground for Pittsburgh to cover. And that is when Syracuse has been at their best. But Syracuse turned it over 8 times. If they can stop turning the ball over, they'll be right there.
There's that run-out ball screen. Either pass it or drill it.
Vance fields the miss. Blair crashed the boards. It'll go out of bounds to Syracuse, down by 7.
One thing that Dewan Blair does a good job. Look how he stopped and posted his man in the middle of the lane. He didn't get the ball, but he was wide open. And when he catches it, he's got moves this year instead of just being a power player. That little inside pivot, Sigma move, and putting the ball up. He's got a nice touch. This young man is a terrific player.
I think they're going to the monitor check if the last Syracuse bucket by Andy Routens was a 2 or a 3. Carl Hess seemed to have some question. So our terrific crew, producer Bo Garrett, director Chip Dean will run it back for them and try to give them the best look, as they always will. Excuse me, Curtis Shaw over at the monitor.
Yeah, he's plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
And it is the 3. Curtis just wanted to be sure, and Carl Hess, wherever he is, he probably wanted to be sure too.
Klaus wondered, is he get a paycheck for tonight? Better shooter than Dad. Don't you think at that age?
A better shooter, yeah. His father's a better passer.
Wonderful all-around player, Leo.
I played with Leo professionally. We were teammates in Italy for a year. And Leo was a great passer in college. He never passed the ball as a pro.
Well, with you mean? Well, there's a reason.
Flynn missed a 3. Fields tapped it to Sam Young. Here come the Panthers. Up by 6, under 5 minutes to go in the half. Dixon missed the 3. Raced after the rebound. Harris got there first. And now it's 5-on-3. Pitt. Blair the finish.
Just a little thing. Fields deflection, and that was the steal.
Sam Young alertly caught Syracuse sloppy and careless in the backcourt. This is not a great performance by Syracuse here in the first half. Last week they gave up 50 in the first half to Georgetown. Jim Boeheim said they were awful. I think he's going to be underwhelmed by their performance in this first half.
Sean, this is just a great play. A heads up. I had a little trouble getting rid of my circles, but just watch this play. Just deflecting it to his teammate Dixon. And now an opportunity for a pretty good pass and offensive rebound.
Well, you just throw the ball up toward the rim or on the rim, and DeJuan Blair can go and get it.
Flynn and Jackson, the offensive rebound. Oh, then he just threw a forearm.
Not a good play. Come on. No reason for it, Rick.
Just frustration.
Wow. It makes contact. Look at this now. It wasn't from our angle. It looked like a real. He got him in the shoulder pretty good. Fortunately, not the head.
Yeah, it really wasn't as bad as it looked, was it?
Right. No.
And Curtis Shaw is back at the scorer's table, back near the monitor, while John Higgins talks to Jim Boeheim.
Now they're going to make sure it's not a punch situation.
Rick Jackson's development this year in his sophomore season has been a big reason why Syracuse has been a surprise, pleasantly so to many. It's 17-2 and 5-1 in the Big East.
Yeah, actually the arm and hand ended up discarding him, but it really did look vicious at the beginning.
Levance Fields misses the free throw.
Now, Sean, we were mentioning on the Steelers and Ravens game, and in the lobby of the hotel, some of the Ravens players were walking. You got that?
Yeah, dead ball, intentional technical foul on Jackson. 2 shots and the ball here for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it didn't warrant dismissal. But anyway, the point being, I saw these Ravens players. Blair reminds me of one of them, the body, the strength.
He reminds me of 2 of them.
Oh, goodness, is he huge.
Blair listed at 6'7", 265 pounds. And of course, it's a fair matchup with Onuaku, 6'9", 275. Jackson 6'9", 240. And a finish by Paul Harris, the junior from Niagara Falls, New York, a high school teammate of his current teammate, Johnny Flynn.
And so often kids get too deep with nothing, as Dixon did, and you lead to a fast break the other way. Nice run out by the Cuse.
And as loose as Syracuse has been with the ball in this first half, they're just down by 4. Jim Boeheim has to feel pretty fortunate that his team is right there, given how they've played offensively in this first half.
Syracuse has turned it over 9 times and shot just 42%, under 42%. They're better than 50% for the year from the floor, one of the best percentages in the country. The Pitt turnover gets us to a timeout with 3:10 to go in the half in this Big East battle.
I'm Reese Davis. Coming up on the UPS halftime report, a clash of number 1 and number 2 in the women's game on ESPN2. Number 1 is showing why they are the top-ranked team. The very best moments from the past week in the plays of the week, and wait until you see to whom Digger's highlighter is pointing now. Is it Jay? Well, shout at Jay there. Maybe he's the highlight man, or maybe not.
All right, Reese, thank you. We'll look forward to halftime, as we always do. Here at Syracuse, ball down by 4 under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Andy Routen's missed a 3. And good work inside by Onuaku. And he was wondering where the foul call was as he put it back in for his 6th point.
How physical was that rebound? Oh, impressive.
And he just went right over Sam Young.
Routen's blocked by Dixon.
Did not give up on it.
Yeah, it looked like Routen's, after the steal, glided a little bit and allowed Dixon time to speed back and get in position for the block.
You know, after this block, Sean, you know, the pass out top, Young has an open look when they got to the other end. Dixon just hesitated, never got it to him.
Well, you got to get that ball to the rim a lot faster than that. Andy Routen's tried to angle it in. But if you're going to angle it in like that, you have got to go off of 2 feet and use a shot fake.
Oh, Young shot way off. Almost a Bill Raftery neck ball there at the side of the bucket.
Yeah, you don't like that tag.
Well, Routen's really sat on that left hand of Jermaine Dixon, trying to force him right.
Nice pass by Jackson out to Routen's. That's a 3, and it's a timeout for Pittsburgh as Syracuse has taken the lead with an 8-0 run.
Pretty simple, isn't it? Be in the right spot, and they find their teammate. Just a little drag down. Nothing fancy. They try and get away from the help guy.
Sam Young just got caught staring at the ball.
Everybody jams that lane when the ball's in one corner. Solid play.
Wednesday Night Hoops continues on ESPN. 2 games featuring 4 top 25 teams. At 7 Eastern, 21st ranked Villanova takes on 3rd ranked Connecticut. And then at 9 Eastern, the 9th ranked Clemson Tigers take on Tyler Hansbrough and the 6th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Disney Parks, part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week. Among those in attendance here tonight, Santonio Holmes had a huge game yesterday. Big part of the Steelers' win over that valiant Baltimore Ravens team. Congratulations to John Harbaugh, his great staff, and those spirited players for a remarkable season.
Can't believe Santonio stole my hat.
Did he also get the bowl of soup that came with it? Sam Young had it blocked by Paul Harris.
And they got Harris for the tee, and that becomes the 3rd foul. I believe he's got 2, Sean.
Just too much talking.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Why these guys have to yak. Just play.
You weren't permitted to say anything to an official when you played or I played. I mean, the coach is the only one that
he didn't say anything to the official. He was talking noise.
No. I mean the same thing. You didn't play with the other guy's head.
You know, Paul Harris is a good kid, but I agree with the officials. If there's too much talk going on out there, they need to put a stop to it, because that's where it gets out of hand. And I don't know what he said, but there shouldn't be anything said. Just play.
Well, if you're going to call technicals every time these guys say something to each other running up and down the court, boy, Fields can't take advantage. That's 4 misses in a row after the 2 Syracuse technicals. And obviously they put Levance out there because he is an excellent free throw shooter. It's better than 77% for the year coming in. And that's a big technical called against Harris. 3 fouls, and he goes to the bench.
And he's not. Jim Boeheim is making suggestions here. He's not taking the criticism very well. And by the way, if the way you talk to us, if they call technicals, you'd lead the country.
I mean, we just see so much woofing in these games. And when have you seen a technical for that?
Seldom.
Well, usually it's a lot more demonstrative. I mean, I think the two guys involved and the official were the only people who heard it.
I assume the players were warned. If they were warned, then it's fine. Yeah, but if they weren't warned, then you're right. Then there's no way to regulate that.
That's 2 fouls on Onuaku. Paul Harris still shaking his head in disbelief.
Yeah, neither team has really settled down. You don't get the feeling there's a flow for either team. It's very herky-jerky. Part of it, the emotion.
7th team foul against Syracuse. It's been called for just 4 here in the half. That was a big part of their loss at Louisville. They were called for a season-high 26 personal fouls Saturday at Raucous Freedom Hall. Boy, Blair threw up an air ball.
Well, both teams at halftime are going to think they should have been way up. Pittsburgh has turned the ball over. They've missed a bunch of free throws, and Syracuse taken a few bad shots, and they have turned the ball over at an alarming rate.
And he's a 60% shooter. Not too bad, really.
Very unusual when you play Pitt and you don't shoot free throws. They have a reputation being such a physical team. There's Jackson over the back.
Nothing easy around the rim. Around that time, too. Thinking he had an easy path. I agree. Recognition defensively.
Everything's off of one pass. Everything's a little bit rushed for Syracuse.
2nd foul on Jackson. 18 fouls now against the Orange. The Panthers in that loss, not only they have 26 fouls, but they shot 35% from the floor. That's 12% under their season average. The crowd roars as Pitt's now 2 for 8 from the line. And they had a season-high 20 turnovers against Louisville. Blair is smiling even as the crowd gives him a mock cheer, encouraging them to keep cheering.
A sense of accomplishment when he nails it. And they didn't rebound like Pitt either the other night.
Well, they were out-rebounded for just the 2nd time this year. In that game at Louisville, Belmont was the only other team to out-rebound Pitt this season, and that was an easy win for Pitt even without DeJuan Blair. A big reason why they were out-rebounded. Blair had a knee injury and did not play.
Now Blair's got to be smart. He only has 1 foul out there. Switch on the baseline.
Devendorf off to Routens. 8 seconds to shoot.
Yep.
Traveling the call, the 10th turnover. Each team has turned it over 10 times. Tomorrow night, ESPN Super Tuesday, a doubleheader at 7 Eastern. The Big Ten battle, Ohio State and the Fighting Illini, and then at 9 in the SEC, Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Super Tuesday presented by KFC, part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week on ESPN.
They like to run out ball screen, and of course Blair loading up too.
Shot clock is off. Pitt can take it all the way down.
With their offensive rebounding prowess, a missed shot is still a pretty decent play for Pittsburgh to get a tip-in.
Fields, tough shot with Devendorf guarding tightly. That'll take us to halftime. Vance Fields with one of the few offensive highlights of this game so far.
Jim Boeheim kept Fields out of play, and he just gets out there, gets it, a little drive draw with that left hand, a little kiss, Sean McDonough with the left.
Juan Blair leads all scorers with 12. Pitt by 3 at the break. Here's Reese Davis in the studio. It's the UPS halftime report.
All right, Sean, thank you very much. Digger Phelps is here as well. Pittsburgh 12th in the Big East in free throw shooting this year, shooting just about 65%, much worse than that in the first half. And really, Digger, as the guys mentioned, neither team really seemed to get into a good rhythm, primarily because they didn't take care of the ball.
No, the turnovers were a real factor in the first half. But credit Jim Boeheim. He gets out of the 2-3 zone about 10 minutes ago in that half, and then they make a run after being down 9 to get the lead. Why? Pitt turns the ball over 10 times right before halftime, and that's why the game's so close. So, yes, turnovers has been the issue in this first half for both teams.
See much more man-to-man defense this year from Syracuse. Routen's played very well in the first half. Ought to have a good second half coming up. Over on ESPN2, number 1 versus number 2 in the women's game. Both UConn and North Carolina undefeated. Maya Moore, the sophomore, scored 1,000 points quicker than any player in UConn history. Think of all the great players they've had. Nobody's done it like her, and she's ahead of the field, Digger.
Yeah, good transition on this. When you look at UConn, their defense is so solid. Carolina's just having trouble stopping the drive penetration, and this is why the Huskies got the big lead.
That was Lori Dixon and Kalani Green to Renee Montgomery. This thing is turning into a rout. Oriema's team up 46-30 at the half. Still to come on the UPS halftime report. We'll show you the spectacular plays from the past week, the great moments there, but only the special need apply to be pointed to by Digger's highlighter. I don't know if that's an honor or a curse. Let's see.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
You're in the market.
King Holiday will be special because President Obama has fulfilled Dr. King's dream. And America has taken a step forward in electing an African American as President of the United States. So I'm looking forward to King Holiday with a smile on my face.
Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report.
Watch Kansas beat up Texas A&M. It's part of ESPNU Campus Connection, coming up next.
That is coming up as part of Campus Connection Week, and Jayhawks have won 4 straight Big 12 titles, and they're undefeated 2-0 in the league so far.
Well, you got to credit Sharon Collins, the leadership of him in the backcourt. That's why they won a national title. He had 18 points at Colorado the other night, and so did Cole Aldridge have a big double-double. And those two guys balance all these new players. A team that lost 6 key players winning that national title, taking on the Aggies.
No doubt that those guys are carrying their team. DeJuan Blair doing the same with Pitt. 12-5 in the first half. Panthers up 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed.
Hey, we're the Colorios. That's my...
And welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light from the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's ESPNU Campus Connection Week, as we bring you campus life through the eyes and ears of the students. Already had visits from a couple of students from these two great institutions, and more to come. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery. Bill will harken back to his student days later on, as soon as we can jog the memories. It was not a memorable first half. Each team had 10 turnovers, but DeJuan Blair did his thing.
Only played 17 of the 20 minutes, but he had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And when he gets the ball inside, he's got such great hands and great feet.
We talked earlier about the improvement of Routens, and Andy really finding a home, gets his puppy set, delivers a little nylon from deep. He's mixed his game up 2 occasions with the drive, but he spots up, they find him and acknowledge him, and is he unerring from deep.
Blair leads all scorers with 12. Routens leads Syracuse with 11. Not saddled with the foul trouble tonight, Blair. That's a big difference. When he's out of foul trouble, you can expect the double-double. Paul Harris, strong drive, and the goal.
How about that lean in? Searches the numbers, a little smooch at the end.
Got to take that right-hand drive away from Paul Harris and force him to his left.
7 points and the 3 blocks for Harris, but he does have the 3 fouls. The third was the technical for woofing at Young. Young, pump fake is so much a part of his arsenal. And even though it's in every scouting report, Owaku went for it. Owaku went up in the air and couldn't come down fast enough.
I'll tell you, when it's that close to the rim, you can see where guys bite. Away from the rim, I don't know how they bite or why.
Well, it's so exaggerated. A lot of guys, when they shot fake, a lot of times they go too fast, and the defender doesn't bite on it for that reason. But his is slow and exaggerated, and so many guys go flying by.
Nice kick.
Routen's open for another 3. So in the first half, you were talking about Andy compared to his dad, former Syracuse star Leo Rautins, who played professionally. You mentioned you played professionally overseas with Leo Rautins, Jay, and I had a text message from Leo at halftime saying, who would you rather have shoot the ball, me or Jay? And I think that's a very good point. I wouldn't pass to you either if I were Leo.
Leo got paid to play professionally. I just love what Flynn's been doing all night long. Gets in the lane, and he turns the defense head, and, of course, Rautins then finds a hole, spreads. There you go.
And there is that exaggerated shot fake. Nobody comes over from the weak side, but, you know, built for Syracuse, when they get the ball inside and they force that post-to-post double, they've done a better job of staying patient with it. That's a nice move.
How about that little ball fake, huh? A little Globey maneuver.
Yeah, Rick Jackson, you're starting to think about most improved players in the Big East this year. Jackson has to be considered, averaging just under 8.6 rebounds per game, and those numbers are steadily going up as he's become a starter in mid-December and prospered in that role.
And showing the length is something they love for the zone when they're in it.
Blair backed into the bucket and scores.
Whew. That ball just dives into the basket.
For fear.
Of course, Blair, as the Pitt fans know, from right up the street. You're up about 600 yards from the Pete. There's Young with a steal, and then Harris took it back.
Took too long. Rautins was open.
Yep. By the time they got it to Andy, he was guarded. And here's Sam Young, who just picked up his second foul a moment ago on the offensive end. Tyrell Biggs.
Yeah, they are patient, though. They don't take bad shots.
Fields had it slapped out of his hands. Dixon bobbled it. 7 to shoot now. They go into Blair. And Harris lost it. And then Young went after it, nearly committed his third foul. Harris driving with 3 fouls. They're in the lane a long time, and Onuaku is fouled. We noted earlier, Steve Andrus mentioned it during the starting lineups, Onuaku leading the country in field goal percentage at better than 70%. But he scuffles at the line, 38% for the year, and 1 for 9 over his last 2 games. This is the first Syracuse free throw attempt of the game.
You know, Shaq has improved his free throw shooting this year. It just takes big guys something. They just don't have a natural rhythm. Ooh. Look at that one. Ooh, that would move the stick.
Shaq's been better lately, though.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, he had, what, 7 in a row there at one point? In one game, 7 for 7.
Big guys don't have the natural rhythm.
Well, some, I should say. Yeah. Some.
Young fouled on the drive. Could you give Arinze any advice on perhaps how to improve this?
Yes, close your eyes.
And it's all like
no, well, first of all, the shot needs to be broken down. When you're not making it, you got to start over. But he brings the ball, I think, too high up. It's really in the middle of his head. He needs to get that ball down a little bit more so he can, get his hand underneath the ball.
It almost looks like he's shooting a beach ball, throwing it up like that. But listen, Bernie Fine on that bench has worked with big guys forever on all details, and a great assist to Jimmy in the fundamental aspects. I know they've talked about it.
Bernie Fine on that bench with Rob Murphy, Mike Hopkins. Outstanding staff under Jim Boeheim. Bernie Fine's been there all 33 years with Jim Boeheim, and when Jim got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, he mentioned Bernie prominently in his very eloquent speech in Springfield, Mass. Blair scores underneath.
And when the ball has been loose, it has been Pittsburgh that's come away with it, especially when DeJuan Blair has been around a loose ball.
16 for Blair. The Pittsburgh lead is 3. They led by 9 in the first half, the biggest lead for either club.
Nice hands
by Dixon. He stripped Flynn, and it's an easy lay-in for Levance Fields.
And you know what set that up, Jay? They run those post rubs. They're tagging Rautins so he can't get a catch and a shot, and forces other issues.
Flynn, tough fadeaway. Young had the rebound. It came free to Fields. Dixon one-on-one on Routens. Young hustles. Timeout, Syracuse. It was tied at 35, 7 points in a row for the home team.
Whether a bad shot or a turnover, Pittsburgh's been taking it the other way for something easy.
Well, you just like the position, the strength, the size of a talented guy.
Villanova, Connecticut, Clemson, North Carolina, Wednesday on ESPN.
After a long discussion with my friends and my family, I've decided to sign with the Cleveland Browns, baby.
LeBron James is done in the sports world.
LeBron electrifies football.
Unbelievable. Yeah, #1.
LeBron, you're going to miss the bus.
LeBron, wake up.
Everybody's on the bus.
When I'm there for the best day of the week, State Farm's there.
Let's go.
Disciplined investing. It isn't about star fund managers. At T. Rowe Price, it's about experienced investment teams that stay the course. It's the same way we've managed investments for over 70 years. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a complete prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing.
Your pizza delivery guy. Well, come on in, man. What you waiting on?
Mouth-watering toppings, fresh-baked pizzeria taste. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
One of these pizzas won't leave your wallet out empty. For fresh delivery taste without the delivery price, it's DiGiorno.
In the islands, tropical flavors bring out the best in fresh seafood. At Red Lobster, we're bringing new island-inspired entrees to you, like tender wood-grilled Caribbean rock lobster and shrimp, brushed with a sweet and spicy glaze. New Hawaiian Isle shrimp and salmon, and new wood-grilled citrus rum shrimp and scallops, flame-seared to seal in the juices. Wood grilling and the flavors of the islands, a whole new way to love seafood. For a limited time at Red Lobster.
And welcome back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on this Martin Luther King Day. It's Big Monday presented by Bud Light, part of ESPNU's Campus Connection Week on ESPN. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They won another AFC championship yesterday with a 23-14 win over the Baltimore Ravens. And the former Pitt Panther, Larry Fitzgerald, will play against that ferocious Steeler D in the Super Bowl, as Fitzgerald was a huge part of Arizona's win over Philadelphia in the NFC Championship. There's Ben Roethlisberger in attendance here at the Pete tonight.
Boy, is he a tough guy. He gets hit. I think it keeps on ticking.
He was tremendous yesterday, had a lot of time. I was impressed that they could play the entire game given that kind of protection without one holding penalty. Foul called. It's against Syracuse. And it's the fourth on Paul Harris. 5 minutes into the second half. It's Pittsburgh by a touchdown.
His style is legendary.
Good luck.
His accent unmistakable.
Hamburger.
And now,
Let me bring you up to speed. We know nothing. You are now up to speed.
he's back in action.
Good one.
And this time,
You want Clouseau off the case.
Let's wait till he does something really embarrassing.
he's hot on the trail. Steve Martin.
There.
PG's out.
Pink Panther 2, rated PG. In theaters everywhere, February 6th.
Sometimes the best way to get closer is to get as far away from it all as possible. Don't let erectile dysfunction get in the way. Viagra, America's most prescribed ED treatment, can help you enjoy a more satisfying sexual experience. Ready to talk to your doctor? Find out how at Viagra.com. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Don't take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease in vision or hearing. 20 million men have had the Viagra conversation. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Just one game, but if one game is any indication, there's a significant gap between the #1 team in women's basketball and the #2 team. Maya Moore of UConn knocking down the 3, and the Huskies are blowing out #2 North Carolina on the Tar Heels home court.
UConn's had some great women's teams over the years. That might be their best. Pittsburgh here at the Pete, leading by 7, and just before he went to the break, a big offensive foul called against Paul Harris as he now takes a seat with 4.
Harris on the left-hand drive to Juan Blair. The referee's ruling that he had maintained his initial guarding position, and that's the toughest call in basketball. I don't happen to have agreed with that particular call. You know, it's funny, put on my referee's uniform, but I think if it's not an obvious charge, you can't call it. And I didn't think that was obvious.
Tough for your 4th. Back to the zone. Very good passing team. They pry very well. Not afraid to look opposite.
Out of bounds. Last touch by Rick Jackson. 13 seconds for Pittsburgh to shoot.
Syracuse going with the double team there.
Didn't you think
Blair got it?
Sorry, didn't you think they were really spirited today, Sean? Pitt?
I think they're almost always spirited. I think they were more spirited in the workout than either team has really demonstrated in this game. It's been a rare kind of flat Big East game. And you wonder if we'll see that more and more as the season goes along, because the games are so intense. Sooner or later, it's going to wear you down physically and mentally. Onuaku scored. And Blair the foul. And Arinze with a chance for a 3-point play.
And this is not a good foul here at all. Just let it go. You got caught in a bad position on the rotation. Don't give him a chance for 3.
But a really good patience by Andy Routens. It looked like he was going to be able to get the ball to Jackson, just held it for an extra count and was able to get it to Onuaku.
Arinze's struggles to the line continue. Blair's gone to the bench now with 3 fouls. Dixon rescued it and scored from the free throw line.
Heck of a little play to himself.
And the lead back to 7 for Pittsburgh, now ranked #4 in the country after spending 2 weeks at #1 for the first time in the 100-year history of the basketball program here. Jackson fouled on a scrape by Gilbert Brown.
Well, great analysis there. How about this play, Jay? Reestablish.
So it's Jackson at the free throw line, and he's not much better at 58%. Harris still on the bench with 4 fouls. It really extends beyond Onuaku. Syracuse as a team, one of the best shooting teams in the country from the floor. They are almost 51%, and they are one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the country at 63%.
Well, but the fact that they shoot a high percentage doesn't necessarily mean they've got a bunch of great shooters. You know, they get the ball inside to Onuaku and Jackson, who get point-blank shots, and they do get a lot in transition. So that they do have some good shooters, but they're not the guys that are getting fouled most often. It's Onuaku and Jackson, and they are missing when they put up their free throws.
And the tough thing is there are empty trips then when you don't convert.
Well, ultimately, that winds up getting you beat in a close game. You can't have your inside guys shooting that poorly and expect to win.
Ashton Gibbs, the freshman, celebrating his 19th birthday today. scores the jumper.
He
His
is
first bucket.
Confident offensive player.
And the response by Devendorf. That's a long 2. Just 3 points for Devendorf.
2-3 zone. That middle's going to be open. And Pittsburgh likes to pass into the middle rather than dribbling it into the middle.
See that side exchange, Jay? I think you can take advantage of that. Right here, you got they match up nicely.
Brown the bounce to the baseline, and Young in the right place.
Anytime you get the ball into the middle, right around the free throw line, where you can get it down into that short corner and get a post dive, you're going to get something good.
Flynn fouled on the drive.
Sean, he is so good using, splitting, disdaining, and right here, because he was in the middle, Jay, he did get the bounce.
But you see where Brown takes that ball into a gap. One hard dribble and a jump stop. You know, he's in control. Draws 2 defenders, and then he's able to pass it off into that short corner.
Almost a 5-second count there.
Flynn guarded by Wanamaker. Wanamaker fouled him last time. This time, credit him with a steal. 13 Syracuse turnovers, and it's Pittsburgh by 8 as we tick down to 12 minutes left. This Big East Big Monday battle presented by Bud Light. Young from the elbow went after his own miss and almost got it. He's down behind the play, and it's 5-on-4 Syracuse. Routen's a deep 3. Tipped up by Jackson, and he's called for going over the back.
Now once again, Rounds gets the look. Is it a push or the dribble?
And that's 4 on Jackson. So Harris with 4, Jackson with 4 for the Cuse.
The same innovation in a new, smaller design. The same self-dampening suspension on a new, smaller chassis. The same agility, the same luxury in a new, smaller SUV. Because great engineering is great engineering at any size. Introducing the all-new GLK, starting at $33,900.
There were 5 of them, men, bound by a common love of college hoops. So they gathered here, deep underground, to study it and deliver it to the fans each Saturday. The expert, the phenom, the legend, the guy who talked good, and of course, the dancer, the tiny, tiny dancer. ESPN College Game Day, driven by State Farm. Saturdays at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Sleepy's half-price Sealy Posturepedic mattress sale is going on now. Your chance to get select Sealy Posturepedic sets for half off their regular price. Plus, get exceptional values at great everyday low prices. Like Sealy sets starting at $2.99. Plus, get great sale prices on Sealy Posturepedic sets starting at just $3.99 during Sleepy's half-price Sealy Posturepedic mattress sale. Going on now.
Trust Sleepy's for the rest of your life.
Millions of Americans have made Hydroxycut the #1 weight loss supplement.
I'm Charlene from California, and I lost 55 pounds fast with Hydroxycut.
Subjects using the patented primary ingredients in Hydroxycut lost an average of up to 4.5 times the weight than diet and exercise alone.
I'm Skip from Arizona, and I lost 39 pounds fast.
I'm Stephanie from Wisconsin, and I lost 31 pounds so fast, and I feel beautiful.
Get Hydroxycut, a new complete 7-day cleanse today.
And we welcome you back to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, a part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week, as we bring you campus life through the eyes and voice of the students. And one of those students nice enough to join us now is Dave Jedlick, a graduate student in audiology, and hopefully his hearing's good with that loud Oakland Zoo behind him. But Dave is the president of the Oakland Zoo, and I guess the first question is, Dave, how does one become the president of the student section here?
Well, luckily, I've been a student here at Pitt since 2001, back when we were playing at the old Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. So I was around basically from the start of the Oakland Zoo, and luckily, you know, my friends went on to graduate, move on with their lives. I decided to stick around for another 8 years, and I guess just through attrition, I just ended up being president of the zoo just by taking over.
Who picks you? Is it a coup, or the electors, or you just power your way to the top?
No, it's basically what happened was we put together a group, and then we looked for passionate fans to join us, and then that's how we picked the leaders. We're just trying to find guys that are really passionate about Pitt and people that want to help us out.
8 years. Does that make you a sophomore now?
I'm sorry, what was that?
8 years at school. Does that make you a sophomore?
Yeah, I think so. My goal is for me to stay here long enough so that my 1-year-old niece, Julia, can end up here at Pitt, and I can just hand off everything to her.
Dave, you can say you've been 2 terms at Pitt. Unfortunately, they're both President Bush's.
What are you
8
throwing
years,
some
4
political
and
humor?
4. No,
Oh,
4
come
and
on,
4.
Bill. Leave the political humor out. Hey, Dave, tell us about some of the traditions of the Oakland Zoo. What are the things that make your group unique to others?
Well, basically, some of the traditions we have is, you guys probably saw it during the intro today, we hold up the papers for the other team being introduced, and as soon as those lights kick off, we go straight throwing those papers in the air, and that looks pretty cool. But one of the things we do for tradition-wise that I really think is cool with a lot of our off-the-court stuff. So we do an adopt a family around every Christmas season. We try to donate to local animal shelters, and you know, basically we try to do a lot more in the community outside of just basketball. Now, obviously, basketball is our number one focus here, but I think it's good for us to focus on the court and off the court as well.
And you notice how Dave even lowered his voice while his team was shooting free throws. Sam Young converting at the line. It's a 10-point lead for Pittsburgh. 11 minutes to go. Well, we want to thank Dave Jedlicka, graduate student from right here in Pittsburgh in his hometown. His undergrad degree, fellas, was in history, but also communication disorders. So I'm hopeful between audiology and communication disorders, he can help Bill.
I think he certainly could.
I like the fact that he's adopted your haircut, John.
Yes, very handsome man.
Save money that way.
I've already been for my annual haircut here in 2009.
Joseph missed that last jump shot, Sean. He's a nice improvement. He's a kid who's helped them.
Young had it knocked out of his hands. Blair still on the bench with 3 fouls for Pittsburgh, but they have a seemingly comfortable 10-point lead. Mentioned they've won 10 out of the last 13 against Syracuse, and that is a remarkable upper hand against the Orange. John Paquette of the Big East Conference told us you have to go back to Georgetown from 1985 to 89 to find the last time in Big East play that Syracuse lost 10 out of 13 games to a conference opponent.
And I'll tell you what, they have been tough for many years. Nice recognition of the clock. Got Routens.
One thing that Pitt has done is a great job on Johnny Flynn. He has not been able to get anything going.
Onawaku fouled. Tyrell Biggs called for his first. That's the 6th on Pitt. They did not reach the bonus in the first half. Done a good job of avoiding fouling tonight after that foul fest at Louisville. 26 personals against Pitt. Saturday, Onawaku's been wearing out that back rim.
Now, he's got to get the other hand, the left hand, off the ball too. It's not sort of propelling it instead of shooting it in rhythm.
So Blair returns with the 3 fouls midway through the half. Young goes out. Onawaku 0 for 4 from the line. Sports management major at Syracuse, better than a 3.0 GPA. The son of Nigerian immigrants who came to the United States when they were teenagers. Gilbert Brown off to Fields, and now Biggs.
Now they go the opposite corner. They had it. Oh, that was for Brown.
Good catch by Blair, and then Biggs fouled from behind.
You can take a look at Onawaku's free throw motion. There's not a whole lot wrong with it, but Bill, you're right. I think that he doesn't follow through on it. He keeps that guide hand on the ball a little bit too long. I think if he brought it down in front of his forehead a little bit and was able to get his elbow under the ball and his hand under the ball and improve his hand position, he'd shoot a little bit better ball.
It's going to take a while for him to shoot for sides in the summer, though.
He'd never get on the court. Had to make it to get in the game. Paul Harris has returned with his 4 fouls. Pitt has opened up a comfortable lead with Harris out of the game. He rebounds the miss. Pitt hasn't been stellar from the free throw line either tonight. They're at under 50%.
A bad shot.
And then just by feinting it, they end up with an easy one at the other end.
Devendorf missed, hit the deck, and left Fields free to run out and score, and Pittsburgh has its largest lead of the night with 9.5 minutes to go.
Every bad shot has led to an easy basket. Devendorf goes down, and the easy one the other way. Nobody rotates back.
Tomorrow night on ESPN, Super Tuesday, a doubleheader, 7 Eastern. The Big Ten matchup is Ohio State against 24th ranked Illinois, and then at 9, the SEC showdown. Still hard to believe that again this week, for the second week in a row, no SEC teams ranked. Tennessee at Vanderbilt. You think Tennessee's the best team in that league among all those unranked squads?
I think it's Kentucky now. I think Kentucky is the best team.
Florida's coming along too.
Florida's playing better, and they're playing well. But I think defensively, Kentucky is going to prove to why, being the best team. They've got 2 great players in Jody Meeks and Patrick Patterson, and they really guard and play hard.
Harris, after that extended stay on the bench, is shot blocked by Tyrell Biggs, and Levance Fields the push the other way. Syracuse averaging better than 80 points per game, held to 40 so far tonight, and they're stuck on 40 at the moment. Harris tipped it a couple of times, but Brown got it free for Fields.
Look at Fields, always in the mix. Give it up.
3-on-1 break. Rowden's the skip to a wide-open Devendorf, and they needed it. They get a 3 from Devendorf. His first 3 in the night, just his second bucket for 5 points for Eric, a junior who averages 14.5 points per game.
That's how the game has changed. 2 guys spread for 3s on a 3-on-2 fast break.
That looked like the old Loyola Marymount fast break when Paul Westhead was there. Push it, circle the line, and shoot a 3.
And don't guard on anybody at the other end.
Give them the 2 and go try to score a 3 yourself. Blair's shot rattles out. Harris, Syracuse a chance to get it into single digits. It is 7 as Roughton throws in another 3.
Quickly getting it down, getting open opportunities, and that is not Pitt's defense, Jay. They usually get back in cover. One of the better prepared teams from a scout situation.
17 points now for Andy Routens on 5 out of 10 from beyond the arc.
Now you get down early, you get an opportunity for the catch and preparation. A little stroke.
Well, there are 2 guys in transition that you have to find first for Syracuse. It's Andy Routens and Eric Devendorf, and you have got to guard him at that line and force him inside the line.
For Syracuse last year, 14 losses. They played the entire year without Routens, most of the year without Devendorf, who played in 10 games and then ripped up his knee. And Jim Boeheim's team is deeper. Last year, when Syracuse lost at home to Pitt, blew a late 11-point lead. The bench played a total of 15 minutes in that game and gave them only 1 point.
It's not unusual for Andy Routens to be knocking in a large number of threes. I mean, he's got 9 threes in a game earlier this year. He had 7 threes against Seton Hall.
I think he's really widened his game with a little variety, which helps that 3.
Nazir Robinson is in for Pitt, wearing number 35. Gilbert Brown rises out of the corner. Routens tipped it out, but nobody there in orange. Oh, Flynn wound up in the Pittsburgh radio booth. Paid a visit to Bill Hillgrove and Dick Grote. Timeout, 7.5 to go. Pitt by 7.
Tuscany pastas from Pizza Hut. Restaurant quality without the restaurant price. Over 3 pounds of pasta for only $12.99. It's true. Feeds 4 or more for $12.99. New Tuscany pastas delivered only by Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
A traction control system that monitors wheel slip 6,000 times a minute is smarter. Suspension that can self-adjust to changing roads is smarter. A 7-speed transmission that improves fuel efficiency is smarter. All of this in a smaller SUV? That's just brilliant. Introducing the all-new GLK, starting at $33,900.
All right, your business. Well, say you want to improve customer service and keep your overall budget in line. Well, with UPS, you have the options to control the speed and the cost of your shipping. They have more express shipping options than anyone, from 2 days to same day. It's whatever speed you need. It's not just your business. It's your business with UPS. Whoa, that was close.
Tuscany pastas from Pizza Hut. Restaurant quality without the restaurant price. Over 3 pounds of pasta for only $12.99. It's true. Feeds 4 or more for $12.99. New Tuscany pastas delivered only by Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And in part by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com.
We're back at the Petersen Events Center, the campus of the University of Pittsburgh, 7th season hosting Pitt basketball. How about that record? 107-10. They opened the building with 34 straight wins. Syracuse was the first opponent to win here. And a matter of fact, if Syracuse would win tonight, they'd be only the second visiting team to have 2 wins in this building. Louisville is the only team that's won twice in this building against Pitt.
Played great last year. We happened to be here for that game, Louisville.
It's amazing that Syracuse is within 7 in this game with Johnny Flynn with only 2 points in the ballgame.
Devendorf has just 5. Levant's field shot is off, rescued by DeJuan Blair.
And shot clock situation.
It's just one of those nights where nothing seems to be functioning crisply here tonight.
No, everything's
a little off. Maybe it's the hangover from the football game here yesterday that captivated the city.
Or there's a student operator on the shot clock.
Well, that would be a fitting part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week. All the color and pageantry involved with Campus Connection Week.
Still another clock deal.
And Tim Higgins over to talk to Jim Boeheim. Now, John Higgins, they're not related, by the way. At least I think they're not. I asked Tim at the half, are you and John related? He said, yeah, he's my grandson, but he was laughing.
Well, one of the courtside Gucci Row guys thought it was father-son. You know, I think Jimmy feels it didn't hit the rim.
Well, no, he's also talking about the clock, the game clock. It was 7:35 at the last timeout. They're trying to figure out what the shot clock should read if there was a reset.
Well, Carl would get it right.
Carl Hess, if he were here. I've only confused Curtis Shaw and Carl Hess for about the last 10 years. They're looking at the time.
I guess it did hit the rim. That glance left. 7:27.
Yeah, it
just grazed
the rim. Jim Boeheim up to 8th in the history of Division I basketball in wins. 788. 3rd among active coaches. Only Coach K and Jim Calhoun have more. And Boeheim and Calhoun have been running neck and neck for a couple of years now.
It's incredible. I don't think we'll see the likes of guys staying at the same university for the length of it. Right?
Yep. Well, when you do wins all at one school, the only coaches ahead of Boeheim on that list are Dean Smith, Adolph Rupp, and Jim Phelan of Mount St. Mary's.
A LaSalle grad, I might add.
Jim Phelan. Were you 2 classmates?
No, he was a little ahead of me. In a lot of ways. Wins as well.
He only had you by 900 or so wins. I don't know. There's still time for you to make a coaching comeback. Jay and I have been encouraging that for years.
You're trying to get rid of me, huh? I thought we might lose Jay a couple of years ago, but those schools came to their senses.
was nice of Jay to deny those coaching rumors that he started on College game day. Here's Fields for three. A big bucket for Pittsburgh with 7 minutes to go.
He is a big bucket guy, though.
And a nice pass by Robinson, getting the ball into that middle of the zone.
Flynn has scored in double figures in all games but one this year, has only 4 points tonight. His season low is 9 points, and that was in a one-sided win against Long Beach State.
And Dixon was looking for the high ball screen. He caught him, reversed on a crossover, and got to the rim.
Young, a deep three for Pittsburgh. Back-to-back 3 balls for the Panthers.
And Young breaking out a little bit. He had really been struggling over the last 4 games, shooting about 33% from the field.
He didn't have a good one in Louisville. For him.
Young has 12 of his 15 points here in the second half. Flynn missed a straight-on 3. Nasir Robinson, the freshman out of Chester, Pennsylvania, plucked that rebound. Chester High School also produced Jameer Nelson, and way back when, Bo Ryan, the Wisconsin coach.
Exactly. And, you know, he's a couple of years, you're going to see him be a player here. A nice dish. He made a nice move, a rollout, and Blair with the delivery.
Nasir Robinson with his first bucket. Timeout. 5:43 to go. It's back up to a 13-point lead for Pittsburgh.
Anytime you get the ball to where it says Big East in the middle of the lane, something good is going to happen as long as you keep your poise. Sam Young dropping that from deep.
Yeah, he's so good around the rim as they make this little high-low entry pass. When he can step out, that really complements his overall game.
Time now to take a look at our ESPNU Campus Connection profile. Tonight it features Pittsburgh senior forward Sam Young, who's inspired by his brother Michael Sprigg, who's blind but is a competitive athlete in wrestling and judo. And Sam has a wide variety of interests. He writes poetry, plays the piano, is gymnastically inclined. He did a backflip on his recruiting trip here. And an impressive young man, frequently reads poems that he's written at open mic nights. The goal waved off as there was a foul before the emphatic dunk by Harris.
Flynn reaching back a little bit now. That's twice in the last couple of trips he's been able to blow by his guy and be creative.
And for the most part, Jermaine Dixon and Brad Wanamaker have done a really good job on Johnny Flynn in this game.
They sure have.
Flynn made the first free throw. He's still 10 points below his season average.
He had 28 against Pittsburgh last year when they met.
Yeah, he was bombs away from three-point range last year against Pittsburgh. He made 6 threes in that game. It was an excruciating loss for Syracuse against Pitt March 1st at the Carrier Dome. They had an 11-point lead with under 4 minutes to go. Blair the dunk.
And they could never close the deal on Fields.
Flynn, they pressured him up high. That took Blair away from the basket. And Syracuse took advantage inside. 9 points for Paul Harris.
Heck of a look on that play.
Young, that's another 3, and Jamie Dixon wants a timeout. 18 for Young. He seems to have found his shooting stroke again tonight.
Well, when you're behind, you extend the floor and press, Jay. I thought it was a good move, but unfortunately they couldn't close it in the backcourt.
Never able to get in front of Levance Fields, running alongside him and then getting behind him. And that forces the defense to help up. Here, Young just spotting up in the corner. You see, looking for the ball, getting his feet set. And earlier, Levance Fields running the break down the left-hand side. And Andy Rowden's just on his back there. And 3-on-1, essentially, with Jackson in the middle.
Sam Young, the only Pitt player selected to the preseason All-Big East team. Most improved player in the Big East last season. Most improved player one half to the next tonight. 3 points of the first. 15 since the break, and a hand check called on Jermaine Dixon, the younger brother of the former Maryland star Juan Dixon. Now with the Wizards. 2 fouls on Jermaine.
And that's one of those why. I mean, they were rolling the ball, trying to get the clock, not start the clock. Just a silly one.
Flynn gets it to bounce in. He's 73% for the year from the line.
You have to be prepared for a quick trap and full court pressure.
Oh, Robinson and Blair almost lost the rebound over the end line. The ball for Pittsburgh and a 13-point lead. Free throw line has been anything but free for these teams tonight. Dixon, a deep 3. Harris, his leg twisted awkwardly as he took the rebound away from Blair, 2 of the best rebounders in the country. Robinson giving them nice minutes off the bench, got in the passing lane and knocked it out of bounds.
If any of us rebounded like Harris, we'd be out of commission for a year. This is just amazing, the control and no walk either.
Count the basket for Flynn as he swooped across the lane. Tough shot, and he made it. And the foul is on Dixon, his 3rd.
It doesn't take Johnny Flynn very long at all to heat up, and he has heated up over the last 3 minutes.
Now, Jamie really works that sideline, doesn't he? He went over to the bench chatting with his guys, too, to find out what he thought either Syracuse would run or they would like to run.
He knows there's a lot of time left in this game. Yeah. 11 points with the 3-point shot, especially with Andy Routens and Eric Devendorf on the floor. That's not a big number.
No, not at all. Tommy Hurry usually holds up a sign as what they want run. Pat Sandel been with him for quite a while.
Blair with another double-double tonight now. That's his 12th of the season in 18 games. He has 18 points and 10 rebounds. Young, it falls off. Blair again, the putback. And even 20 points for DeJuan Blair.
Well, he is amazing. He just tips it to himself, tips it off the backboard, and he's got that great ability to get off of the floor a second time.
He and Johnny Flynn were the co-Big East Rookies of the Year last year. Flynn was fouled as he was dribbling at the top of the key. Foul on Dixon is his 4th. Timeout, 3.5 to go.
The same innovation in a new, smaller design. The same self-dampening suspension on a new, smaller chassis. The same agility, the same luxury in a new, smaller SUV. Because great engineering is great engineering at any size. Introducing the all-new GLK, starting at $33,900.
Your pizza delivery guy. Well, come on in, man. What you waiting on?
Mouth-watering toppings, fresh-baked pizzeria taste. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. One of these pizzas won't leave your wallet on empty. For fresh delivery taste without the delivery price, it's DiGiorno.
Hi, it's pretty easy to see what draws me to Esurance. With my family, a job, and a pretty long commute, it's hard to find time to take care of things like auto insurance.
Let alone how much it can cost.
I chose Esurance because they save me money in no time.
With quote-by-print convenience, you can start saving in minutes.
And with hassle-free automatic payments, that's one less bill that piles up.
Get your fast-free quote today.
And get animated about your auto insurance with Esurance.
Winter X Games 13 kicks off live from Aspen. Opening night begins with a mix of tricks and terrain, as defending snowmobile speed and style champ Levi LaValle headlines a showdown in the snow. Plus, Simon DeMont attempts to derail Tanner Hall's quest for a 4th straight gold in ski superpipe. And who will soar to new heights in snowboard big air. Huge! Winter X Games 13 starts Thursday at 9 on ESPN.
Davis with you. Providence after seeing Marquette roar back and take one from them over the weekend, facing Cincinnati at home, and Curry going all the way to the cup, and homestanding Flyers up 32-29 at the half. Don't forget, second half Big Monday coming up. Sharon Collins and the Jayhawks getting set to take on Texas A&M at the top.
For Syracuse with a win over Kansas. Over the years, Jim Boeheim's been chided for a weak non-conference schedule, but this year, Memphis, Pitt, Kansas.
You've always
supported Pitt's in Florida. I meant to say Kansas.
You've always supported him, though. You blindly have supported.
Well, Lemoyne's tougher than a lot of people give him credit for. Flynn makes the free throw.
Johnny Flynn has come alive in the last 5 or 6 minutes, but I wonder if it's too little too late, because Pittsburgh has absolutely dominated the glass in the second half.
And after 10 turnovers in the first half by the Panthers, only 1 here in the second half. Flynn too aggressive in the backcourt. He fouls Fields.
As long as you smile at the ref, you can say a few things.
First foul on Flynn, the 6th team foul. So the next one will put the Panthers at the free throw line in the bonus. It's Fields with Young, Biggs, Wanamaker, and Blair for Pittsburgh, trying to protect this 11-point lead with 3:20 to go.
You know, you never know what personality your teams are going to come to an away game with. It's really amazing over the years. Syracuse, at times this year, has looked like the cream of the crop in this league. Occasionally, not playing up to snuff.
We talked to Rick Pitino Saturday night before our telecast at Louisville, and he said he thinks Syracuse might be the best team in the conference when you look at all the pieces. That's 5 fouls on Harris. He's gone with 9 points and 5 rebounds. He averages 14 points and 8.5 rebounds.
I don't know, Sean, if you call it a turning point, but the technical foul that Harris picked up in the first half wound up being a big play for him and I think for Syracuse.
Well, it's a point of emphasis. Officials told to clean up the woofing by the players. And from what we were told at the half, the language that Harris used to get that technical in his conversation with the Pitt player was pretty spicy. Unusual for a Syracusan.
Very much so.
Routens. It rattles out. Onawaku tried to swat it out, but Blair was there for the board. Blair and Young with 20 points apiece tonight for the Pitt Panthers. Looks like they're going to bounce back from their first and only loss of the season Saturday at Louisville. They are 26-9 all time after a loss under Jamie Dixon. In his 6th year, he only has 41 losses. They go with 148 wins. Levance Fields the strong drive.
And they did it within the framework of using clock, a lot of motion.
Flynn, a deep 3 off to the right. Young had it poked away by Jackson. Routens had it swatted from behind by Wanamaker.
Heads up play, the rebound kick out though. That's the tough one to stop. Pretty good counter by the Panthers.
And Syracuse just didn't have it tonight.
No.
You know, they came out flat, and on the road you can't do that, especially against a team that is coming off of a loss, and you're going to expect a little more fight out of them maybe than usual.
They were flat, in the words of Jim Boeheim, awful in their last road game last week at Georgetown. Also on the ESPN family of networks, Rick Jackson, the bucket for Syracuse. He has 9.
That was some goal, by the way. The reverse English from the left side. The kiss, and that is a difficult counter.
Well, that's the biggest difference between Jackson and Onawaku this year. They are finishing more plays. Just going up stronger, better concentration, and better finishing through contact.
Pitt so well coached, milking the clock here with the 13-point lead. Young acrobatically to the bucket. 22 now for Sam Young.
Heck of a move for a poet.
Young is averaging better than 18 points per game, the best scoring average by any Pitt player in the last 10 years.
Well, Sam Young a couple years ago had a significant knee problem. He wasn't the same athlete 2 years ago, but last year and this year his explosiveness, his speed is back. And he has become a more complete player now that he can use that athleticism.
And making those shots sets up that driving game, too.
Young went from 7 points per game as a sophomore to 18 points per game last year to win the most improved player in the Big East honor. Tyrell Biggs scores. Under a minute to go now. The Panthers on their way to another victory over Syracuse. It'll be their third in a row over the Orange, 6th in the last 7, and 11 out of 14. Last Syracuse win over Pitt was in the 2006 Big East tournament. Wednesday night hoops continues. ESPN, 2 games, all 4 teams in the top 25 in the country. 21 Villanova against 3 Connecticut, and 9 Clemson and 6 North Carolina. Big East and ACC action. Matter of fact, in the poll just out today, 8 of the top 10 teams in the country are the Big East or ACC, 4 from each conference. Young goes out to a well-deserved big hand. Flynn the free throw. Wednesday night hoops this Wednesday presented by Disney Parks. A huge part of ESPNU Campus Connection Week on ESPN.
Well, you look at those 2 conferences, the Big East and the ACC. I think the ACC, if you look at the top 4 teams in any conference, is the best conference by a hair over the Big East. But there's no other conference that can compete 1 through 10 with the Big East. It is too strong 1 through 10.
No nights off.
Yeah, Mike Krzyzewski stoked up that debate this weekend by saying he thought there was no question the ACC was stronger. Big steps out and scores.
Well, Jay would never question his statements.
Well, it's stronger at the top. I mean, it's stronger in the top 4 by a hair. But it is not stronger 1 through 10. No way.
Well, I think Mike just wanted to change the debate because the debate had taken on. If there was a debate, the tone, most people seem to be saying the Big East is clearly the best league. And I think Mike and some of the ACC folks got a little tired of hearing that.
You see all these blocks, by the way? Amazing.
Another big night for DeJuan Blair, our Max Player of the Game, brought to you by Max Payne on DVD. Typical night for Blair's 12th double-double in 18 games this year as he had 20 and 12. Sophomore from Pittsburgh out of Chenley High School. Grew up just 600 yards from the Petersen Events Center. Final scores: Pittsburgh 78, Syracuse 60. Coming up next on ESPN, Big Monday presented by Bud Light continues as the Texas A&M Aggies take on the Kansas Jayhawks. And for a wrap-up of this game, catch us on ESPN News in just a few minutes. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Once again, the final score tonight, Pittsburgh 78, Syracuse 60. For Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, Sean McDonough saying so long from Pittsburgh. Here's Reese.
All right, Sean, and we'll move to the Big 12. Josh Carter, one of the best three-point shooters in America, leading free throw shooter in the Big 12, hoping to shoot the Aggies past Kansas at the Phog. That's coming up at 7 minutes after the hour. Digger Phelps alongside, celebrating the 35th anniversary of Notre Dame ending UCLA's 88-game winning streak. Plenty on that coming up a little bit later on tonight on College Basketball Final. But a real emphatic statement made by Pittsburgh after the disappointment over the weekend, being knocked from the ranks of the unbeaten. DeJuan Blair was strong again.
But if we look back at Blair in that Louisville game, he gets his 4th foul with 8 minutes to go, and Pittsburgh's up 12 points. And without Blair, Louisville goes on that run, and obviously they win that game. With Blair tonight, he gets his 20 points. He gets his 12 rebounds. They just dominate inside. Sam Young takes the game over, but it was Blair. He is so physical and so strong that he can dominate. And this is why Pitt was #1. So even though they lost to Louisville. Without him in that lineup when he was in foul trouble, he's still the force that makes his team work. And when that happens, it allows Sam Young to play his game. It allows Levance Fields to be the point guard, dish the assists, hits the shots. And this is why Pitt is so good. They just shut down Syracuse, who came off that big one with Notre Dame at home. And when you look at how good Syracuse is, defense tonight showed up. And they never got in the game night offensively.
Yeah, they seemed a little bit lethargic from the start, as Sean and Raft and Jay mentioned. So Syracuse goes on the road, gets thumped. Pittsburgh pulls away and bounces back from its first loss of the season. Another game going on in the Big East tonight. Not a big Monday affair, but big enough for Cincinnati and Providence. First half, Bearcats down by 4. Alvin Mitchell see the three, and the Bearcats within 1 later in the first. Friars, Marshawn Brooks really tough inside. The Friars, knowing they had Marquette down 13 points in the second half, get that loss, and they're ready to play. They got to beat Cincinnati in this one. Deontay Vaughn with a pump fake, and he hit it, but Providence with a 3-point lead. They're at the half. Friars, of course, a disappointing loss as Marquette roared back from a deficit to beat them last week. Number 1 against number 2